Hello everyone, Stanley here, and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial for the 1.16 Nether update and beyond. Today I'll be showing you how to build a drowned-only Trident farm for your Bedrock Edition worlds. This is a very simple, straightforward, cheap, and easy-to-build farm that anyone can build in their Bedrock Edition worlds. As you can see, this small farm right before you here doesn't really take too much effort to build. You don't need to build a perimeter for it, and you pretty much just build it and you instantly have drowns to farm to get yourself a bunch of tridents, gold, nautilus shells, and all of the other lovely things that you get from farming drowns. Now I'm actually going to be showing you how to build two versions of this farm in today's tutorial. The smaller version right here gets you 500 drowns per hour, and then the much bigger version gets you about 1,000 drowns per hour. So quite the upgrade. You might want to consider building this, however it is not necessary. Either way, I'll be showing you how to build both versions. So how exactly do you use this drown farm? Well, it's very simple. All you need to do is go up to the AFK spot, which is 24 blocks above the thing, and as you can see, we instantly start getting a ton of drowns. These guys go to the Nether, and of course they don't really spawn that quickly. There's a cap of 5 drowns, so yeah, you don't really get that many drowns at one time, which is why we send them to the Nether to get them out of the mob cap as fast as possible so that we can have more drowns spawning. So basically you can AFK here for about 10-15 minutes with a smaller farm. You don't get that many drowns, so you don't need to worry about this thing crashing your game from AFKing here for too long. That being said, AFK responsibly. Don't stand here for like 5 hours. You will crash your game from having 10,000 drowns in the Nether. Not a good idea. Anyway, once you're done AFKing and you are happy with the amount of drowns that you should have in the Nether, we can go over to the Nether and kill them in the kill chamber. So basically, the drowns will come through that Nether portal, fall down some blocks, and then that's all there is to it. You now have a bunch of drowns that you can smack in the knees with your diamond sword. So as you can see, we killed all those guys, we got ourselves a bunch of loot, and of course a ton of tridents as well. As you can see, it's a very simple farm to use. You get a bunch of tridents, you get a bunch of drowns, you get a bunch of gold, and you get a bunch of experience as well. Really quite straightforward. So what exactly are the rates of this farm and how many tridents do you get from it? Well, if you build the smaller version, you'll get about 500 drowns per hour, and if you build the larger version, you'll get about 1,000 drowns per hour. Approximately 15% of drowns spawn holding a trident, and if you kill that drown that's holding a trident with a looting 3 sword, you have an 11% chance per drowned to get their trident. As you can see, there's a lot of these guys in there that got tridents. If we go ahead and wipe all these guys out, we're gonna get a lot of tridents from them. It's honestly like a lot of tridents. I can't give you an exact estimate per hour or per AFK session. It's really going to vary greatly due to a lot of different factors, mostly that percent chance of them dropping them. But if we open this thing up, after killing him, you'll see that we got a lot of loot in here. There was some in here before, but you get the point. You get a lot of tridents from this farm, and you're going to really enjoy this in your world, especially if you build the larger version of this farm. So let's check out how these farms work in more detail, shall we? So as you can see here, we just have a giant platform of blocks far above an ocean. Doesn't matter what kind of ocean. That makes us no mobs will spawn in the ocean down below and hurt the rates of our farm. And then on top of the platform, we simply have some nether portals and some flowing water. The drowns can spawn anywhere on these bits of flowing water, and then they get pushed immediately into the nether portals, allowing more drowns to spawn and giving you far more tridents. So it's a very efficient way of doing things. You don't need to wait for them to go to like a central killing chamber or any kind of crazy nonsense like that. They basically just spawn and immediately get taken out of the mob cap. Now, of course, we are using a nether portal, so the occasional zombie pigmen will spawn. However, they spawn and then get pushed immediately back into the portal, going straight to your nether kill chamber. So basically, you just get some additional gold. This farm also works during the day, of course, because we have a roof of leaves above it to block out the sun, allowing the drowns to spawn at any time of the day. But wait a second! Doesn't nether portals produce light, and therefore all of your spawn spots are invalid because they're too bright? Well, yes and no. Nether portals do produce light, but it's not really that bright. Also, drowns require a light level 7 or below to spawn, and water actually reduces light level that passes through it. So as you can see here, we have a texture pack on that shows us the spawning spots in the world with these little red and yellow X's, and there's no X's right next to the nether portal, meaning that no hostile mobs will ever spawn right here and go directly into the portal. Not an issue, we're only losing one row of blocks. However, you can see that we have X's on all of these other blocks, so hostile mobs can spawn in all of these places. So the nether portals really don't affect the spawning of the farm at all. It's not something that you need to worry about. I know some of you are going to be curious as to why we don't have multiple layers of spawning of floors, and that is because apparently drowns only spawn on the highest water block or something like that. I'm not entirely sure the mechanics. Anyway, as you can see, we have slabs here and leaves up there, so this is technically a surface spawn. You know, drowns should technically be able to spawn it down there. However, as you can see, they only spawn on the top layer of the farm, so that is why our farm only has a single spawning layer. So I'm sure you have a lot of questions about the larger version of this farm, and I have answers for you. Yes, yes, no, no, and maybe. In that exact order. I don't know what your questions were, but those are my answers. Anyway, jokes aside, this is basically just an expanded version of the smaller farm. As you can see, the smaller farm is basically just this little square right here. So then we add some portals to the sides and to the ends, and that basically gives us some additional spawn spots. And this farm is a little bit weird looking, especially on like the corners and the edges. And that is because this entire farm fits within the radius of 44 spawning and despawning introduced in the 1.16 update. All right, let's go ahead and hop into the tutorial. So there's going to be a materials list for both of these drowned farms in the description of the video if you are interested. And there's also going to be a world download of this world with these drowned farms and testing bits in the description of the video if you are interested in that. And with all that stuff out of the way, let's hop into it. So first of all, I'll show you how to build the smaller version of this farm, and then we'll go over how to expand that into the larger version later on in this video. So the first thing that you want to do is find a nice open part of the ocean to build your farm above. As you can see, you don't want to be too close to land, and you also don't want to be right on top of the ocean because we got drowns and fish and dolphins and all of these things around us that are going to be hogging up the mob cap. So if you're playing on a 4-chunk simulation distance, I would suggest pillaring all the way up to about Y125, and that's going to mean that everything in the ocean below us will despawn and it won't affect our farm. If you're playing on a higher simulation distance, like simulation distance 6, 8, 10, or 12, you will need to build higher above the ocean. That way everything in the ocean despawns. To start construction of your farm, we're going to have our center block. This is going to be the very center block of the entire drowned farm, and you'll be AFKing right above this block, right up in the sky. So we need to build out 21 blocks in every direction with upper half slabs for the majority of our farm. So let me get these marked out real quick. So as you can see, we went 21 blocks in either direction, and now we need to hook these things up on the corners, and then of course you want to do this on all 4 sides, building a giant 43 by 43 platform made out of upper half slabs. And this is what the platform should look like when it is complete and fully built. And now we're going to start installing some nether portals. I'm going to be installing my nether portals going east and west. As you can see from the locator map, our little icon is facing to the left and right, and that means that this is the east direction and that is the west direction. So basically we're going to build up 21 long nether portals on either side of our central block. Of course, we know that this platform is already 21 blocks long, so we can just rip out this entire part of the floor right here, place down our 21 obsidian, get a 3 high pillar right there, a 21 tall like bridge across the top, and then an additional 3 obsidian on this side. If you cannot light this nether portal, that means it's either too short, which is a very easy thing to see, or it is too long. The maximum a nether portal can be is 21 blocks, and as you can see, that one lights up, meaning it's like 21 blocks or less. So now we need to build another nether portal on the other side as well, which is exactly the same process. Once you know that your nether portals can light, I would suggest breaking them. That way there's no additional particles or sounds or zombie pigmen getting in your way as you're building the farm. We'll relight these later before we install the water. Also, I would suggest moving up your central marker block to the top of this pillar, just so that you know where the center part of the farm is, because it's still relevant. From this point onward in the tutorial, everything that we do to one side of the farm is going to happen on the other side of the farm. It's exactly the same on both sides. You basically just mirror it. And now we need to mark out where the rest of our nether portals go. So go to the center pillar and you need to mark out 6 blocks in either direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put a solid block and then another 6 pieces of glass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is where the next row of nether portals will be going. And then you can mark out another 6 glass, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and another solid block. That should line up with the very edge of your platform. And now what you can do is go ahead and install your nether portals. It's exactly the same as the central ones. Now that we have these nether portals in, we're going to go ahead and put a line of glass all the way around the edge of this platform. So literally just a one tall line of glass going all the way around. This is going to hold in all the water, and of course the glass is non-spawnable, so you don't need to spawn proof of these blocks. But yeah, just go ahead and lead this all the way around the farm. Also, go ahead and make sure to put lower half slabs on top of all of your nether portals. That way nothing spawns on top of them. So now that you have this built up on one side, go ahead and build that up on the other side as well. And here is everything built on both sides. As you can see, the farm is nearing completion already, and now we need to go ahead and light all of our nether portals. And now we're going to start installing our water streams. So everywhere that we have a solid marker block in between our glass like counter blocks, that's where you want to install a water stream. So as you can see, we have one solid block there, one right there, one over there, and one right there for a total of 4. And that means that we're simply going to put water to the sides of all 4 of those marker blocks, simply like that. Just run down with water sources to either side, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Once you have installed the water streams, you'll want to run back through and place some lower half slabs inside of all these water streams, waterlogging them. This will prevent the drowns from actually spawning inside the water sources and, you know, just getting stuck there forever, basically. And then we also want to cover those slabs in glass blocks as well. That way none of the drowns actually get out of those like areas and onto the upper parts of the farm. So simply cover all the slabs with a layer of glass and then do that for every single row of your water streams. Now, that being said, this little area right here, you can't just place down a water bucket because you'll waterlog that slab. So what you want to do is simply place in a temporary line of blocks to place your water sources onto. So as you can see, we can now place in our water sources perfectly fine with no hassle. Make sure to put a lower slab or a piece of glass on top of your solid marker blocks, or simply replace them with a piece of glass. And now we need to go to the nether and build the nether side kill chamber. So go to the center block of your farm, stand basically right above it, and grab your coordinates. So our coordinates are 1059 by -310. Grab those coordinates, and now you will need to divide them by 8, and that's where you need to build your nether portal in the nether. If you're not exactly sure how to link nether portals, I'll have a tutorial linked in the upper right and down in the description for how to properly link them. So this right here is the nether portal that links to our drowned farm, and this is where all the drowns will be coming out into the nether. So what you want to do is simply go behind the nether portal and place some glass or some solid blocks, or really whatever you'd like to block off the back side of the portal, and then go to the front side, and you want to have 2 buttons down here at the front of the portal. Buttons act as full blocks to mobs, so they'll basically just walk off and fall down into your kill chamber. So now we want to go down by 7 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that is going to be how far our drowns fall. For this fall, I'm assuming that you have at least a smite 4 diamond sword. If you are able to get looting 3 on a diamond sword, then you're probably able to get smite 4. If you don't have smite 4, then you can simply make this drop shoot a little bit longer so that your drowns have less health, and then you can one-hit kill them. So basically, yeah, just have 7 blocks down if you got smite 4. Anyway, we're going to put in a double chest and then 2 hoppers into the back side of it, 2 slabs above it, and then simply go ahead and put a pillar of glass going all the way up to both sides. And then we're going to put a pillar of glass on the front as well. So 2 glass blocks right there, and build it all the way up to the top if they will place. Get some glass blocks in those locations as well, and now your kill chamber is officially done. We can test this out over here. I got a command block set up to summon in some drowns, and as you can see, they'll basically just kind of explode out and fall down to the bottom, where you can then one-hit kill them with your sword. And now we need to install the AFK spot for our farm, so simply stand in your water streams. As you can see, we're standing at Y125, so we need to go up by 24 blocks. That's going to take us up to Y149, and this is exactly where you build your AFK spot to make sure that you stand right above the very center spot of your farm, and you're good to go. Now, make sure that you only build your AFK spot out of transparent blocks, like half slabs or glass or leaf blocks. That way you don't block any spawns in the farm below. And there we go, our farm is completely done with one little issue. This farm will only spawn drowns at nighttime. It will not work during the day. Now, the easiest way to fix that is to simply put a roof of leaves above the entirety of the farm. Leaves are very easy to acquire, and they just work by blocking out the light level and still allowing surface spawns, drown spawns, to happen in your farm. So we're going to go up by 3 blocks, and then we're going to install a tiny little roof of solid blocks right above where you stand in your AFK platform, and this will prevent phantoms from spawning. If you're standing underneath solid blocks, phantoms will never attack you. So now from the epicenter, the very center block of your farm, we need to go out by 27 blocks in every direction just to allow it to be dark at all times. And this is what a giant roof of leaves is going to look like. As you can see, if we go down below, it is completely dark and nothing but drowns can spawn inside of this farm. A little word of warning about leaves. At one point in time in Bedrock Edition, spiders could spawn on top of leaves. I'm not sure if this exclusive feature got broken, removed, or if I just can't get it to happen because I'm a dumb person. However, in all of my testing for today's tutorial, I've never seen a spider spawn on top of these leaves. So if you're seeing spiders, first of all, I'm sorry, but also you'll want to put this roof about 50 blocks above your AFK spot, which is way up there in the sky. So if your goal was to build the smaller version of this farm that gets you 500 drowns per hour, then congratulations, you have officially built that, and you can stop here. In which case, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Otherwise, the rest of this tutorial is going to be focused on expanding this farm into the larger version, which gives you 1,000 drowns per hour. If you want to build the larger version, you need to first of all build the smaller version, since we're simply going to be expanding this in a bunch of different directions. One thing I want to clarify before we get into the expansion, for these couple designs right here, I was focused on keeping everything in a diagonal, and that's why some of these things are kind of ugly and not quite the best. But when I show you how to actually build this in your worlds, we're going to fix all of this ugliness and actually make the farm a little bit bigger to the edges. So if you're wondering why the version I'm showing you is different from these versions, that is why. While building the expansions, make sure to go to the Nether every 10 to 15 minutes to clear out any drowns that may go there. If you don't go to the Nether the entire time you're expanding the farm, you'll end up with hundreds upon hundreds of drowns in the Nether, and that could be a very, very big lag spike. So go to the right side of the farm, and we need to build a new 12 block long Nether portal off of this side. So go down by 1, and then that's going to be the starting block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and then that's going to be your pillar up. Of course, bridge that all the way across the top as well, and now we need to fill in the floor. The floor is, of course, going to be 12 blocks wide and 7 blocks long as well, basically lining up with that thing right there. Go ahead and, of course, fill in this floor on both sides of your Nether portal. Once you have your floor in place, go ahead and light the Nether portal, put your slabs on top of it, and then, of course, put a ring of glass around your platform. Now we're ready to go ahead and fill in the water, put some lower slabs inside of that water, and then, of course, put some glass on top of those lower slabs. Make sure every single one of those gets hit, and then of course do that on both sides. Now that we have this in place, we need to add a new little 3 block long Nether portal to this side. So simply 3 blocks up like that, another 3, and then another 3 like so. Cover it with slabs, and then we're simply going to add a floor purely on this side right here. So it's going to be a 3x7 floor. It's actually going to connect up with this thing right here. Go ahead and fill that in, of course, and then simply expand out this glass. We want to go ahead and light that portal, and then we're actually going to go ahead and put 9 solid blocks behind it. just like this. This is actually going to suffocate any zombie pigmen that spawn from the portal on that side. And then we can go ahead and simply break out those glass blocks. So here's what the new little expansion should look like on both sides and on the greater farm as well. So that is the east-west expansion done. We now need to do the north-south expansion as well. So we're going to start at this edge of the farm, and then we're going to put our little marker block back in with our slabs so that we can start counting from that. So that is our marker block, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to have our next set of nether portals. You might want to expand the floor out here just so you got something to stand on. And our nether portals here are going to be 11 blocks wide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then up, of course, by 3. You know the deal by now. Bridge this back across, and now we have our next nether portal in place. You now, of course, want to go ahead and fill in this entire floor going all the way across, meet it up with this part of the nether portal, and, of course, then fill in the border glass. By now, I think you pretty much know what to do. So once you got the floor in place, your border glasses in place, and your portals lit, and your slabs on top of your portals, you can simply just go ahead and remove the glass behind your slabs right there, and that will allow the water to flow into here. Of course, make sure to replace that marker block with a piece of glass again so that nothing spawns on it, and that is your new little expansion done. Once this expansion is in place, we can loop back around to the back side of that, and we need to make our final expansion. So go out by 7 blocks, and then we need to have a 6 wide floor, and that is the final bit of our farm. This is about as big as the farm can possibly be with a 44 block despawn range. So keep that in mind, you can't really expand this thing any further. Anyway, once you've installed your 6 wide floors on either side, your water sources need to go right here inside of these slabs, and then of course just cover those up with pieces of glass. The final thing for this end section is to fill in a solid block wall in all 5 of these locations right here, just so that any zombie pigmen that spawn on this side will suffocate inside of it. Of course, make sure to do that on both sides. And this is what the finalized north-south expansion should look like, and this is what the greater farm should now appear like with all of the expansions on all 4 sides. So this farm right here should get you approximately 1,000 drowns per hour, which is a pretty solid little farm for not too much expansion. Would highly recommend. Of course, make sure that you also expand your leaf roof over every single part of this farm. Again, it needs to go 6 blocks over every edge of the water. That way drowns can spawn at every part and every time of the day. And that is going to do it for the Drowned Farm expansion. I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's video and get a ton of use out of this farm. If you have any questions or comments, please do let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always trying to help you guys out as best as I possibly can. Also, if you did enjoy today's video, of course, make sure to leave a like as it significantly helps out the video and the channel a ton. If you are new here and you want to see more videos like this in the future, then make sure to subscribe. And otherwise, I'll see you all down in the comment section and in the next one. Thank you for watching, and then there was silence.